Hi, I'm Joe Giordano, Content Manager at AfterMarketer Club. Today in our In the Pits Expert interview series, we're going to be talking about how automotive industry companies can develop marketing strategies. Our guest today is John Goldman. John is president of Brand Launcher, a business and marketing strategy firm based in Maryland with a team across the US, Canada, Israel, and South Africa. John is a dynamic speaker who has presented at numerous conferences and conventions and expos, including the SEMA Show, Construct Canada, Texas Auto Dealers, Vermont Auto Dealers, and many others. John has worked with clients including Haagen-Dazs and National Geographic, and his campaigns have been featured in Business Week and the Wall Street Journal. We want to welcome John by starting off with this question. When it comes to developing a marketing strategy, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see on a regular basis?
Great, thanks for asking, Joe. Essentially, the biggest problems that I see is, number one, is a lack of what we call hungry fish, a lack of irresistible bait, and a lack of consistency. So I want to put this in a context. Most people don't care about you, and most people are not particularly interested in what you have to sell. Why? Because you got the wrong message to the wrong people. Let's put it in the context of 3 M's. What are the 3 M's? M number 1 is the market. M number 2 are the mediums, and M number 3 is the message. So today we're going to speak about the market, the mediums, and the message. And within that context, the biggest mistake most people make is they're not clear about their hungry fish. You see, most people, they go to sell something and they just start selling. But the idea of focus is so important. Why? You see, what's easier, to sell aspirin or to sell vitamins? What would you say?
You know, I'd probably say aspirin because we use it on a regular basis.
So you're right on. The idea is that it's much easier to sell something to someone who has a pain, a want, or a need than to push, oh yeah, you should take vitamins because they're good for you. When it comes to aftermarket, some of them are needed and some of them are wanted. And so therefore what you want to do is identify those people that are hungry for your solutions. Either we're all running from a pain because I need some sort of automotive part, or I'm running towards pleasure that I want to trick out my truck. And so the idea is to identify them and create a campaign that's based on them. Why do I say that? Most of us, we wake up in the morning to oftentimes a radio alarm clock. And when you wake up to a radio alarm clock, what's the very first thing that you hear? Advertising. Before you get out of bed, you hear advertising. And then if you're like me, I sleep in a t-shirt, I go and I look in the mirror, and what do I see? Oh my gosh, there's advertising on my t-shirt. And then I grab my toothpaste. I have 5 kids, and there's advertising on my toothpaste. You go, you get your breakfast, you look at your cereal box, there's advertising on your cereal box. Turn on the television, there's advertising on the television. You get in your car, you start driving, and there's advertising on your radio. You get in the office, and you've got faxes. You've been faxed. And then finally you open up your computer, check your email. Spam! 660 billion spam emails, and they're all filling my box. So how are you going to break through the clutter? That's what our conversation is about. That's why it's so important to be clear about who your target audience is, who the hungry fish is, because then you can speak their language, and you know what pain they're running from, and what pleasure they're running to. So that's the first thing. And within the world of hungry fish, there are 2 primary hungry fish for most people in the aftermarket. You know what those 2 groups of hungry fish are?
What are they?
So number 1 are the end users. So we all have customers that are walking either into our store or buying our products or buying our parts. And the other are the influencers, or the endorsers. So let's say that you own a retail shop and you're selling automotive parts. And you can try to go to consumers, which is B2C, but you can also go B2B. There are people who are influencers. Who are the people who are influencers? The people who are running fleets. Now that's a nice B2B sale. Those people that can influence large amounts of sales, and how you communicate with them and how you work with them is very different than how you would with a person, or it could even be a car dealer. They could be sending people your way as well. So this small group is worthy of an entire conversation, because one good person can result in $100,000 in sales to you through referrals, because he's a big fish in a small pond. as opposed to one consumer that's going to come in and buy a $70 part. That's a very different market. So we separate those markets out. So we spoke a little bit about the first group of hungry efficient influencers. Let's talk about the other group, the end users. Every city has enthusiasts. For example, there might be a trucking group or an aftermarket group that they're into. There's maybe a collectors association. So you want to identify the group and then speak their language, become part of it, attend their meetings, advertise in their periodicals, promote your stuff, and then so we've had some great successes by some people. They'll focus on hunters, and they'll focus on fishermen, and because all these people, they've all got trucks, and so they're spending a lot of money buying aftermarket stuff because they focus on this niche, and they have a specific language as opposed to doing what most people do, which is advertise to the whole world, and that's very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Makes very good sense. So, you talk about advertising to the whole world and how that's bad. How does a person find which channels are appropriate to advertise in, so they're not advertising to the whole world?
Okay, so let's put it in context. We said three things: mm-hmm. the markets, the medium, and the message. You're now asking me about the medium. So the medium is going to be dictated based on who we're going after. So now let's say that we're going after the business to business. We'll pick that channel. So within business to business, we want to say, what are they reading? What are they listening to? Who is influencing them? Where do I find them? So one of the things you want to do is go back and do your audit of your best customers. As you do an audit of your best customers, what you're going to determine and learn is that